We're here today to host Q&A. It's really for anything you may have, any questions in the process so far, any thing on your mind of is this a qualifying proposal or not? The three of us as the co-chairs are here to really answer and engage any question you might have. To get us started, I really wanted to open again with a warm welcome, but to introduce ourselves as co-chairs. So my name is Alan Hale. I'm the founder of Spark Access, and that's really leading disability inclusion and accessibility across the mobility industry from a place of belonging for people with disabilities as we think of innovation and talent growth opportunities in the industry. And all that's after close to 15 years in the automotive industry across Ford Motor Company and General Motors, where I had the privilege of working with folks like Charlie. So Charlie, I'll pass it off to you.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. I'm Charlie Garnett. I've been in the auto industry since 1999. I'm a vehicle architect at General Motors, and my team establishes new vehicle designs from the ground up. And so part of that job is making sure that the people that ride in those vehicles and drive those vehicles are accommodated and comfortable and happy. And a big part of that is making sure that we're inclusive about those definitions and make sure that people with disabilities have the things they need in their vehicle. So we're working to establish some innovations in that space.
Then I'll turn it over to Dr. Pajan.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Ellen and Charlie. I am Shabnam, and I am an assistant professor at the Department of Automotive and Mechatronics Engineering of the Ontario Tech University. My research is mainly focused on augmenting and improving our capacity for movement and mobility by advancing the innovative technologies in assistive and active micromobility devices. My main goal has always been to introduce solutions that are human-centered, safe, healthy, and active, as well as inclusive and age-friendly. I would also like to welcome you all to this competition and this session. Thank you.
Thanks. Format for the meeting, I believe folks have the Q&A function on their side within Zoom. If at any time during the presentation something pops into your head, please enter something into the Q&A section. After I'm going to give just a quick recap based on kind of our kickoff presentation, but to highlight where we are in the innovation contest. We'll pause at the end and really open the floor for questions. So think of this session as open office hours. I believe there's a way to through either the Q&A section or chat. I don't believe there's a way to raise hand in our platform today, but we do have the ability to take you off mute and allow you to speak if you prefer that medium. So again, feel free to post any questions as we go through, and then we'll open at the end for a true open office hours, and we'll be here until 12:30 to answer any questions. So to kick off, the challenge this year is really around three key themes. So this is the third year that we've done the barrier-free accessible mobility challenge through the IEEE Smart Mobility Group. And for this year, we really chose these three themes of how might we create user-centric mobility technology to help elderly people. How might user-centric mobility technology help people with disabilities? And that's across kind of the vast spectrum. And then track 3 is how might user-centric mobility technology help people with chronic illness. All three of these tracks have a lot of interdependencies and interconnections, but it's mainly leaning into one of these three themes as you go through. So to give you that snapshot of the competition timeline, we are currently at May 15th after the contest kicked off on April 1st. Our submissions are due in 2 weeks, and that is right now on the website. It's essentially a interest form. So by subscribing to it, we'll be sending out the proper links to submit the final proposals and video, all by May 31st. And then that gives our committee and the judges that we're assembling time to go through all the proposals, and we'll respond shortly after, kind of midsummer, reaching July 15th, 2024. Once we have kind of our semifinalists presented after the proposal review, that's where we dig into more refining of the concepts, where we really ramp up targeted mentorship for those different proposals, really partnering ideas with the right areas of the disability community or technical experts. And then we'll have the final pitch-off competition at the conference in September. So again, for the submission requirements, we've got the written proposal component, which is a maximum of 10 page, which includes references, and that includes the problem statement, objectives of the solution, the design and implementation methodology, the team composition, including the roles, expertise, and skills, and the exploration and discussion of feasibility, user centricity, and practical implementation. In addition to the written proposal, we're also asking for a 3 to 4 minute short YouTube video that is also an expression of the concept. For our judging criteria, we have kind of our 6 key components. So novelty, having an entirely novel solution. Human-centered, is the solution usable by the targeted users and iterated with feedback from people with disabilities, or one of the other communities we've mentioned to satisfy those mobility needs. Feasibility, is the solution practical and feasible? Implementation, is the solution something that providers would implement and benefit from to accommodate people with disabilities and seniors and those with chronic illness? And then really like the desirability, so user adoption and ensuring that the solution is really meeting the needs and is wanted by the target communities. And then lastly, it's just the quality of the proposal and video. And we do have an updated rubric. I'm not sure if this QR code is also up to date, but we just recently published the rubric on our website as well. Just to cover the weight of those metrics, originality covers 20% of the scoring criteria. The human-centered design aspect is 25%. Execution is 15%. Usability is 15%, and then the final presentation is 25%. And again, just to recap, with the semifinalists, this is all leading towards the IEEE Smart Mobility Conference that's being held in Niagara, September 16th to the 18th. We get, I'd say a lot of questions of what is mobility, and we really want to make it flexible for all teams participating, where barrier-free and accessible mobility is really defined as any way people are moving through their worlds. So thinking of EV charging infrastructure could be an example. Progress being made in airport accessibility. I think one we mentioned was a past semifinalist that was working on modern Bluetooth technology, able to connect with hearing aids in an airport for announcements and whatnot. And then there's also pedestrian infrastructure to be considered as well, where it may be pedestrians with disabilities interacting with the environment and new variables such as electric vehicles or any connected infrastructure, and how we can benefit people with disabilities in that slice. Again, those are all just examples. Not exhaustive, and I think that's a lot of what we want to focus on for our Q&A today is hearing from you of what's on your mind and ways we can help clarify and lean into maybe an idea to help you get to a proposal that is viable. I'll end with submissions are due May 31st. That's 2 weeks from today. We've got a QR code here to the website. It links to IEEE-SM.org/barrier-free accessible mobility challenge. And that's kind of the one-stop shop for all updates, all resources. We meet as a team every week to make sure that our latest information is all reflected on the website. So I will stop there. And this is where, please, if you have questions on the challenge, post them in the Q&A, and we are happy to address them. I see.
Thank you so much, Mr. Raheel, for your discussion. Yeah, we have 2 questions from Dr. Tanzila Saba.
Thank you, Sarah. I see the first question is, can we apply now? We do have the registration today. We do encourage everybody to register for that. That is really kind of the submission of interest. So it'll you'll enter your information, and then when we have the submission links live, which should be any day now to submit the videos and the links to the proposal document, that will be shared with everybody who's entered into the interest form. I see also we got late to meet the deadline. I know 2 weeks is a very short amount of time, but given past proposals, this is essentially a 10-page proposal, and then again, a short 3 to 4 minute video. It is possible in 2 weeks to scrap together if you've got an idea and a good team, but I understand that the timing may be tight. Charlie or Shabnam, do you want to take questions as well?
Yeah, sure. I can read this next one. It says, our solution is a rehabilitation robot aimed to restore natural mobility in paralyzed limbs. It is supposed to be used at homes under remote supervision of medical practitioners, telerehabilitation. Do you think such a solution fits the challenge goals? So I suppose the question here is sort of as related to like the examples you gave, Alan, they're very much like transportation focused. Do you have any thoughts on how this fits into that scheme?
I do think when we think of total mobility, moving around or having access to services within a home or environment would also definitely count. So the telerehabilitation is a very interesting concept, and I think we would be interested in seeing that proposal.
Excellent.
Certainly, I would like to also add that beside the mobility of the users that are the target users that needs the rehabilitation, it's also the caregivers, services, and improvement in those that could help them to have a more inclusive and way of life and a better way of commuting or improvement in their through their program of the rehabilitation. In the third question, we have should it be a complete demonstrative project or just a prototype? Can you please let us know the level of it? Okay, so I think it really depends on the solution that is being proposed, whether simulation or virtual presentation of the proposal would be sufficient, or it would require a prototype. But one of the main points is that that solution, whether it is a prototype or a virtual one presented, takes into account the needs and requirements coming from the users and being validated for the implementation and feasibility of the implementation. Is there any other points that Charlie or Alan, you would like to add to this?
I'll share a little bit of my experience here at GM. So downstairs from where I'm at right now, we have a lab that's kind of our innovation space. And it looks like a kindergarten classroom, honestly. There are markers and crayons and paper plates and pipe cleaners, just craft supplies, basically. And we work in that space to just kind of build quick prototypes. Obviously, GM builds $1 million prototypes all the time, but we also build these sort of 99-cent prototypes as well. There's a Starbucks located right next door, and we go over there very often with our sort of paper plates and crayons and say, I have an idea. What do you think about this? And you know, a prototype can be anything, could be a sketch, could be something very simple like that. So I think if you can convey your idea and get good feedback from users, that would be a great way to do it. I'm assuming nobody has $1 million budget for the project.
Yeah, I think well said. I think in the spirit of our criteria, taking the demonstration or prototype to whatever level you think can really help you demonstrate that desirability, feasibility, and other judging criteria. And that'll be different for each kind of category of concept, and whether something is a digital service or a very physical prototype will vary. Our question feed is slowing down, but if folks, oh, here's one.
I think there is one more asking for, we are already working on a project. Can it be any solution to facilitate the disabled people? That's one of our tracks is looking for exactly the solutions that would meet the requirements for the disabled people. Well, depending on the category, it could be different solutions. And I would say the answer is yes. That's exactly one of the tracks that we are aiming for, receiving your wonderful solutions.
Yep, well said. I know one of the tracks that covers chronic illness is one that is maybe hard to define, and especially with the intersection of kind of the broader category of people with disabilities. Thinking too of I think a big part of why chronic illness was chosen as a track is we're in this phase of everyone now has experience with COVID at some layer of their lives, whether it's yourself, a family member, or a friend. And a lot of there's a lot of unknown out there in terms of the impacts of long COVID and how that affects everyday life and mobility. So we saw that as a real opportunity to lean into this year, both for things like long COVID, but there are also a lot of other kind of chronic illnesses that are often hard to kind of commingle with an explicit disability category. Because they can be hard to define and they can be very personal. So we're really excited for that track and what opportunities folks may put forward there.
I think we have another question. Should this be presented at the conference? Yes, those who get into the semifinal, they will present during the conference at the pitch of day, and that presentation is one of the criteria added to the pitch of scoring criteria.
I see we have a question about kind of what is the track to winning and what does that look like? And is there an opportunity to support the winner's ideas for execution in the real world? I think the first and foremost are those who get selected for semifinalists through kind of the mentorship tracks that we're lining up. It is a real path to engage directly with different layers of both kind of the innovation layers across academia and industry, but also a lot of the disability communities that might be tied to your different concepts. So that's certainly a benefit of through both the scope of the challenge, but also if your idea exists independent of the challenge, it's a really great opportunity to refine that. I think too, it'll fall to the momentum of teams after the challenge of kind of that track to real world support. And that's something that as co-chairs we'll be working on with our IEEE Smart Mobility staff on really finding what paths might exist to help our semifinalists and finalists move forward.
There's a question about remote participation.
I'm happy to take that one. So I was a judge back in 2022 where our only option was remote participation for everybody. So I think that's something we're very flexible on and something we would love to have folks come to the conference in Niagara who are selected as semifinalists. But we also see as both an opportunity for teams that might not have bandwidth to do that or understanding as part of disability accommodations for the event. Not everyone will want to travel. So I think that's something that we'll work individually with semifinalists to determine and we'll ensure that if folks need a hybrid option to participate, that will be provided.
That seems to me very much in the spirit of the challenge that just the fact of getting to the conference can be a huge challenge for a lot of folks. So it's a good problem to think about.
I wanted to add as well something we're always open to. We're working again every week with IEEE organizers on refining and improving our content. If for whatever reason a participant team is experiencing an accessibility barrier, either with our presentation formats or with the content or website, please let us know. We'll make sure after this event the direct contact to all of our information as chairs will be out there, but we're always very receptive to that feedback and trying to make this challenge as inclusive as possible for participants with disabilities.
Alan, I've learned a lot from you personally about how we present information and trying to make sure that everybody can receive it easily and clearly. I would be interested in looking at proposals kind of with that in mind on some level to say, is this presentation, is this video keeping those things in mind, you know, that it's on some level considering who the audience might be.
That's actually a great thing to bring up, Charlie, and good to know for participants. We will have judges with disabilities, so ensuring that content is accessible, using things, if it's a Microsoft produced document, there's a built-in accessibility checker in both Microsoft Word and Microsoft PowerPoint. If you're converting to a PDF, Adobe also has some built-in tools to help check some basics in accessibility. And when we mention that, it's things like ensuring if you have an embedded image, ensure you're describing that through either alt text or using a plain text alternative. If you have your content separated by headings, ensuring that you're using the proper heading formats so that someone navigating the content with a keyboard or a screen reader can intuitively navigate that. And again, nothing's perfect. I think there's even some mistakes in this short presentation, as we were using kind of several PowerPoint formats from different sources as it came together quickly. So we acknowledge too that it's a learning journey for everyone as well. So we'll take that into account. So while we reward great accessibility, we're going to use other formats as a learning opportunity, and we're not out to punish it.
Yeah, absolutely. If I could, I'd like to just comment on one of the metrics here as far as the concepts being user-centric. We've talked a little bit about that in some of our meetings, and I talk about it here in my job quite a lot. You know, it's something I would always look for in any proposal as far as there's just the idea of nothing about us without us. So you want to be inclusive about including the people that are affected by your design. So you might be proposing something for a certain community, and it would be great that you demonstrate that you've engaged with that community, that you've talked to people, that you've maybe shared your prototype with them, or that, you know, you've interviewed some folks or gotten some feedback. Really to show that you've gone through those steps and really authentically included people in your process. That's just super valuable, I think.
I think that we have one more question adding up. So we can register for this competition today. Is it? Yes, the registration is open right now. And as Alan also mentioned earlier, right now it's the interest to participate registration form that you complete. And we will be in contact to provide you with the links to upload your proposal documents before the deadline. But the registration is open, yes.
I am going to drop the link. I realize we should have probably dropped the link in while we were speaking, but I'm going to post that right now for hopefully everybody to see if our IEEE host can ensure that this is posted for all webinar participants. I'm not sure if that can happen from my end, but that URL should be in some shareable format with our audience here.
I wanted to follow up with the discussion that Charlie, you were talking about on human-centric. Would you like to add a bit more points on the desirability and, you know, the implementation criteria as well?
Sure. You know, from my sort of day to day, people in my job come up with great ideas. But first of all, we want to make sure it's something that people want or need. But we're here to make money, you know, in all honesty. It's General Motors to business. So it's easier for me to promote an idea when it's obvious that there's a potential to make some money. We don't always make our choices based on that, but it is important. And then sort of just like the laws of physics are important, right? So I've seen, and we do this a lot on purpose, come up with really kind of wild ideas just to provoke good thoughts. And we'll talk about, I'm thinking about, there's an example we use a lot about taking a picnic on the moon. Probably not feasible, especially with what's here on my campus right now. But, you know, sometimes it provokes ideas, but at the end of the day, I need something that does, you know, that is possible, that is attainable, or will be attainable in the near future. You know, sometimes we talk about things that we might not be able to do for 5 or 10 years, depending on what the technology looks like, or maybe some regulations need to change. But you know, I never want to limit thought or restrict what people come up with as great new ideas. But it's also always beneficial to be somewhat grounded in reality.
I'm reminded of not maybe like the best for this challenge, but just like a simple mobility example of that is really listening to your stakeholders and your target community. And it goes back to what Charlie was talking about with our human-centered criteria, is often creating maybe a complex technical solution isn't the best answer. And this has come up in a few different, both physical locations, but also some policy discussion online. If anyone has stepped foot in a modern elevator, they're now getting to be a point where they're a little too smart, where there's no buttons anymore in some elevators, and it relies purely on either if you're at a hotel, it might be you swipe your room key at a certain area. And then it automatically will just take you to whatever level your hotel room is on. And that's designed to be kind of a security feature for the hotel, and what might be seen as an improvement of access. But in doing that, it kind of removes agency from people with disabilities, and it removes the layer of information of having confidence of knowing where they're at, what the process is, their ability to navigate and confirm which floor they're on. And I can tell you, just last week at an event in Detroit, the building had one of these smart elevators, and it did not take us to the correct floor. And we ended up in a sub basement for about 5 minutes while we were figuring out how to have it take us back. We made a lot of elevator friends through that journey. But I use that to illustrate the example of sometimes a complex technology isn't the right answer, but it sometimes creates a really winning idea when it can be something that's simple and intuitive. And then that also increases the feasibility and desirability of it.
And I think it would mainly, ultimately, it will affect its adoption and integration into the everyday activities of living and commute, and that's one of the challenges that we see is that there is advancements in the technological advancements, but yet some of the very advanced mobility devices are not yet adopted very well for the target users that they have. And one of the factors could be that they may not really address the priorities or the needs of the users in how to use them or how to adopt and integrate those into their everyday life.
Thinking about something else that's important to me, and maybe it's kind of part of the idea of your idea being novel. Benchmarking is a big deal in my field. So I'm always looking at what the competition's doing, what are the other car companies doing, and then sometimes it's like, what are the bicycle companies doing, or what are the bus companies, or other different modes, to get ideas, and also to see if like the thing I came up with, maybe that already exists. So in some cases, that's part of validating your idea, to say, I found this other thing, it's similar, but mine is different in these following ways, or I've improved on an existing idea. But really that idea of novelty, it's important to just kind of Google it and see if other people have already done something similar.
There's a great example kind of in that vein, Charlie, is maybe for folks who are in the Metro Toronto region and familiar with inclusive innovation in Ontario. A great example is, as soon as I said my preamble, the name slipped my mind, is it's a navigation app. I believe it's Axe. I apologize, everybody. It is, I know it, the creator of it, but I'm drawing a blank on the tool, but it's used for really highlighting like businesses and accessibility and doing mapping. And if somebody has it on their tip of their tongue, you can post it in chat. That would be great. This is my challenge as a professional with ADHD, is sometimes thoughts can fly away. But a good example is how regionalized those kind of mapping solutions can be. So what might be used in the Metro Toronto area for this app and helping work with businesses and other things. There are other very similar apps that are more specific to different cities. So going to the US, the Metro Atlanta area, there's iAccess Life. So that's the kind of American and Atlantan counterpart. And even though they both operate at both a national or international scale in terms of development, there's often a lot of benefit of having a regional kind of streak to that. So while the same solution might exist in different areas, understanding that the novel approach is the regional advantage is sometimes something to highlight as well.
Seems that we have one question. How can one get access to the full application form after registration for the challenge is complete? We will be in contact. A link will be sent out to upload the documents. Would you mind, Alan, bring up the required proposal slide, please? Yeah. So we have the written proposal, which includes these different sections, and a short video for the submission. I hope I answered the question there. There will be a link for uploading the documents that will be sent out to those who have registered.
Yeah, so to reiterate, the form today is more expression of interest, and then we expect here probably within the next week that we'll have the kind of format to submit links to both the written proposal and the video. Worth noting as well. So as we're assembling our judging teams, we're pulling from different areas of both industry and lived communities. So we're working with several stakeholders from the disability community in Toronto and Ontario. We're working with folks like Oven to bring the technical aspect to things. And we're working behind the scenes to really pull kind of a cross-functional group that experiences different layers of the mobility ecosystem and can weigh in from both kind of the technical challenge part, but also the lived experience aspect. So stay tuned for that as that develops, and it'll be shortly after the proposals window closes that we'll announce kind of who our judging cohort is this year. I wanted to iterate as well. I know we have been using the Q&A function for written questions. If you prefer to use your voice to ask a question, I believe you can just post that in chat or in Q&A, and our facilitators can add you if you prefer that medium. One thing I don't know if we covered was kind of the scale of kind of the different layers of the competition. So in terms of proposals, I believe last year had upwards of 400 proposals submitted. And then that gets narrowed down to a couple dozen for the semifinalists. And then that's what is presented with the IEEE conference in September. So just to give an idea of the scale and the number of submissions we anticipate and judging process, that's about the size of how the competition operates at those two layers. Well, I know we still have a little more than 15 minutes left. Again, if anyone has a question or again, iteration of your concept, or you want to know whether something is considered a mobility solution that fits the 3 tracks, feel free to post that in chat, and we're happy to answer.
If someone thinks of a question later, is there a channel for them to get that addressed, to send an email, something to that effect?
Yes, we do. I believe so when this wraps, we'll have kind of the recording posted. I believe with the QR code that's been shared on LinkedIn, there is a central contact email for the IEEE Smart Mobility Group that then gets forwarded to us as co-chairs. We'll also, I think, share our each of our contact information for the 3 of us as co-chairs as well. So if you have kind of an aspect there to message all 3 of us or just one of us, we'll have that available as well. We'll also be Out of the questions received today and out of other questions we've gotten, we'll be starting to build more of a frequently asked questions section on the website. And again, we'll get updated every week with kind of what's on people's minds with the challenge, and what can we do to address in the content. So look at the competition website as a living document that can address some of these things.
I see Victor asked, are hardware solutions also accepted? Absolutely.
Yeah, some examples of solutions that when I was a judge 2 years ago came through. We had some things were proposals for adaptive technology for driving. So I remember explicitly one team had a power wheelchair user who was part of the team. They developed kind of a physical sensor system where using kind of the movement of the head and eyes and tongue, they could steer and move a van around. So that's just one example of hardware prototypes that I've seen in the past. There are several others that I think come through as well. I feel like every innovation contest has some iteration of a smart white cane. So a cane that's able to maybe detect more around it using sensors and other things. I think that falls into Charlie's recommendation of benchmarking kind of what's out there and what the culture is on cane augmentation to get an idea of whether that concept would be sound.
There is also on the webpage, there are some of the examples of the previous year's participations, the links to their presentations. You might find them helpful and also interesting to take a look at them.
Yep, back forward to our Q&A slide. I would say as well, if you're looking for more inspiration on whether you have an existing concept and are looking to refine it for your proposal, or are looking for a novel idea to research, there is Canada has an Office of Accessibility, and I know I haven't had a chance to look at their full event, but just on May 9th last week, they had a pretty large forum for kind of the state of accessibility in Canada and what innovation is happening at different layers. And I think there's a lot of good ideas in there for things to tackle and understanding some of the priorities at the federal layer of what folks are looking at. And one that immediately comes to mind that's true for both Canada and the US is air travel and accessibility in air travel is a pretty hot topic, where it's the ability for people to travel independently and safely. For folks that don't know, there's kind of an unprecedented rate of people's wheelchairs and other mobility equipment being damaged on flights, people who may have service dogs being rejected from flights, ultimately a lot of staff training issues as well for just where is the accessible restroom on a large flight, and how that's used. There's a lot of kind of open items in air travel there. And I'm reminded personally, it's an issue for me and my wife. My wife is a manual wheelchair user, and whenever we travel internationally, we fly out of Windsor, which is Detroit's southern neighbor. And we're due for one of those long haul flights from Windsor to Toronto, to Paris here in 2 weeks. And we know Air Canada has its challenges, and it's a lot of kind of dependency on different airlines for that system. So all that's to say, there's a lot of opportunity in air innovation, and all those different layers that go into an inclusive experience for a range of disabilities. We have 10 minutes left, and it looks like our Q&A pipeline is coming to a close. I haven't seen a new question come through. I believe we're going to make the decision to close this 10 minutes early and give you all back some time of your afternoons. Again, after this session, we'll have contact info posted to ask us any questions you may have. And again, we meet as a co-chair committee every week, and we work to address any questions and address the components of the challenge that are coming up. So we're excited to help you all in submitting your proposals. Shabnam or Charlie, any last words?
Thank you, everyone.
Looking forward to seeing these ideas. Thanks for hosting, Alan.
Yes, and excited to receiving and looking forward to your great solutions for this challenge.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. And thanks as well to the IEEE Smart Mobility staff for helping facilitate behind the scenes. We appreciate it. Have a good day, everyone.
Good day. Thanks.